Hey everyone, it's Mr. Hollywood, and today is video 2 of day 5 of my 5 doubleheader streak, and day 85 of my 200-day posting streak goal. And for my final MLB decade ranking, I'm doing the top 30 MLB players of the 2000s. And yeah, this was a really stacked decade, so yeah, I had to bump it up to 30 instead of 25. So before I give you who I think are the top 30 players of the 2000s, feel free to share who you think are the best players of the 2000s down below in the comments. And let's begin. Number 30, Jorge Posada. He had almost 200 home runs, over 270 average, over 370 on base, and over 850 OPS, which is amazing for a catcher. Number 29, Roger Clemens, who definitely wasn't in his prime anymore and probably had some help, but had just under a 3.5 ERA, which for this era, that's kind of pretty low, and had over 1,200 strikeouts and over 1,450 innings pitched. So it's like, well, this isn't Roger Clemens level as he was in the previous two, probably because he was also aging. This is actually still pretty good. Now, coming in at number 28 is Roy Halladay, who had a 3.16 ERA, and also had over 1,400 strikeouts and just under 2,000 innings pitched. Number 27, Scott Rowland, who had almost 200 home runs, 283 average, over an 850 OPS, and 6 Gold Gloves. Number 26, Jeff Kent, who had over 200 home runs, a 290 average, and also an 854 OPS, which is great for a second baseman. Number 25, Alfonso Soriano, who had over 300 home runs, 260 stolen bases, including a 40-40 year, and also had over a 270 average and an 830 OPS. Number 24 is Matt Holliday, who, only played about 7 years of the decade. However, even in those 7 years, had over 150 home runs, batted 318, had a 387 on base, and had over a 930 OPS, which is pretty great. And even though he also played in Colorado, these are still numbers that I think are not just chorus effect numbers. He was legit that good. Number 23 is Pudge Rodriguez, who had over 100 home runs, almost a 300 average, which is amazing for a catcher, and also had just under a 780 OPS and won 5 Gold Gloves. Yet Pudge Rodriguez, even as he got later in his career, was still great. Now, coming in at number 22 is Joe Mauer, who I believe has the least amount of games played of anyone on this list. However, in that time, he was pretty insane. He won 2 Gold Gloves. He had over a 320 average, over a 400 on base, an 873 OPS, including winning 3 batting titles, which is the most by an AL catcher in history. Joe Mauer was just amazing, and he had one of the best primes of any catcher of all time. Now, coming in at number 21 is Big Papi, who had almost 300 home runs, had a 284 average, 382 on base, 931 OPS. Only reason I really can't put him higher is because he DH, but still, he was amazing. Now, coming in at number 20 is Andrew Jones, who had over 300 home runs, had almost an 830 OPS, and won 8 Gold Gloves. Yeah, Andrew Jones in the zeros was just great. Now, coming in at number 19 is Jason Giambi, who won MVP in 2000 and had almost 300 home runs, had over a 400 on base, and a 927 OPS. Now, coming in at number 18 is Jim Edmonds, who had 240 home runs, had a 283 average, 392 on base, 931 OPS, and 6 Gold Gloves. Yeah, Jim Edmonds was amazing. Now, coming in at number 17 is Mariano Rivera, who, even though he's a reliever, he was pretty insane this decade. He had a sub-2 ERA, he had almost 380 saves this decade, and he had just under 600 strikeouts and just over 640 innings pitched. Yeah, Mariano Rivera in the zeros was just unbelievable. Now, coming in at number 16 is Carlos Beltran, who had almost 250 home runs and almost 250 stolen bases in the zeros, and had a 281 average, 841 OPS, and won 3 Gold Gloves. Yeah, Carlos Beltran was amazing. Now, coming in at number 15 is Johan Santana, who, even though his career was cut short, his prime in the zeros was unbelievable. He had a 3.12 ERA. He had just over 1,600 strikeouts in just under 1,700 innings pitched, and also won 2 Cy Youngs in 3 ERA titles. Yeah, Johan Santana was pretty amazing. Now, coming in at number 14 is Chipper Jones, who had over 230 home runs, and had over a 300 average, over a 400 on base, and a 940 OPS this decade. Yet Chipper Jones was just amazing in the zeros. Now coming in at number 13 is Lance Berkman, who had over 300 home runs, almost a 300 average, a 411 on base, and a 958 OPS. Now coming in at number 12 is Carlos Delgado, who had 336 home runs, a 280 average, 385 on base, and 928 OPS. Now coming in at number 11 is Jim Thome, who had 368 home runs this decade, a 395 on base, and a 958 OPS. Yeah, Jim Thome was just unbelievable. Number 10, I'm going to go with Vlad Guerrero Sr., who had a 323 average in a decade, a 389 on base, 950 OPS, over 100 stolen bases, had a cannon of an arm, and hit 315 home runs. Now coming in at number 9 is Todd Helton, where, I mean, even though Coors Field will definitely be an argument to why maybe he can't be higher or shouldn't even be this high, I still think he was pretty unbelievable. He had over 250 home runs, had a 327 average, 428 on base, 991 OPS, and 3 Gold Gloves. So yeah, Todd Helton for me was clearly someone who was way better than just a product of Coors Field. He was legit that good during the decade. And coming in at number 8 is Manny Ramirez, who is probably a top 4 to 5 best slugger of the decade, but because he played awful defense, I'm only putting him here at number 8. And he definitely also took some PEDs, which, I mean, a lot of players did. So for me, this was really tough to really just, determine who goes above who when some of these players were presumed clean, some of them were presumed to take the juice. But yeah, as for Manny Ramirez, almost 350 home runs, 315 average, 416 on base, over 1,000 OPS. So yeah, Manny Ramirez for me will be number 8 of the decade. Number 7 is Pedro Martinez, who, his stretch at the beginning of the decade, really from the late 90s to early zeros, was unbelievable. He had a 1.74 ERA in 2000, which is just unbelievable. He had a 3.01 ERA. He had over 1,500 strikeouts and just over 1,400 innings pitched. Pedro Martinez was just unbelievable. And number 6 is Randy Johnson, who I think is the greatest pitcher of all time, and really because of the early part of the decade where he won 4 Cy Youngs from 1999 to 2002. And his 2001 year was just unbelievable. He had a 3.34 ERA. He had over 2,100 strikeouts and over 1,880 innings pitched. Randy Johnson was just unbelievable. Now coming in at number 5 is Derek Jeter, who had over 140 home runs, over 220 stolen bases, and also, he batted 314, had a 385 on base, and over an 830 OPS, and he won 3 Gold Gloves. Yeah, Derek Jeter in the zeros was just unbelievable. Now coming in at number 4 is Ichiro, who had over a 320 average, a 379 on base, over an 800 OPS, and he stole over 340 bases and had 9 Gold Gloves. Yet Ichiro was just unbelievable during the zeros. Now coming in at number 3, the top 3 is really tough, but I'm going to go with number 3 is Barry Bonds, who only played 8 of the 10 years. But, from 2001 to 2004, that was just an unbelievable stretch. Barry Bonds ended up hitting 317 home runs in basically just 8 years during the decade, which is just pretty amazing. And he also walked almost 1,200 times, had a 322 average, a 517 on base, which is just, it doesn't even make sense to me. And he had over a 1240 OPS. So yes, even with definitely a lot of steroid allegations and the fact that he was obviously taking the juice, these numbers still speak for themselves. For me, he will still be my number 3 of the decade. Now coming in at number 2 is A-Rod, another person who definitely took some juice. However, he did still play the entire decade, and he was still unbelievable, where I will still put him here at number 2. He had 435 home runs, which is the most of a decade. He batted just under 300, had an on-base percentage of 399, a 986 OPS, and he also won 2 Gold Gloves and stole almost 200 backs. Yeah, A-Rod was still unbelievable, and his stretch in the zeros was just great, and he will be number 2. But coming in at number 1 is Albert Pujols, who, his first 11 years really with St. Louis was just unbelievable. But obviously we're only really talking about the zeros from 2001 to 2009, which that stretch was even better. He had 366 home runs He had a 334 average, 427 on base, 1,051 OPS. He also won a Gold Glove. I mean, Albert Pujols to me is the greatest first baseman of all time. And yeah, those first 9 years with St. Louis, they were pretty amazing. So yeah, Albert Pujols for me will be the best player of the Zeros. Now, thanks for watching. Feel free to share who you think are the best players of the Zeros are down below in the comments. And this is day 5 of my 5-day doubleheader streak. And this is video 2 of the 2 videos today. And today is day 85 of my 200-day post-century goal. Tomorrow I turn 18. And honestly, I'm actually just going to keep it a simple video tomorrow. I'm just going to do what I think are the 18 best movies since I was born. So stay tuned for that tomorrow. Now, thanks for watching, and peace out.